Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Planning Advisory Committee meeting for Tuesday, February 14th for the town of Quispamsis. That being, we'll move on to item 2, approval of agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda, please? Mr. Bishop?
So moved.
Can I have a second on it, Mr. Guest?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Can we have a vote on that, please?
First one always takes a long time.
Motion carried unanimously. We'll move on to item 3, disclosures of interest. None being, we'll move on to item 4, approval of previous minutes. Is there any amendments to the previous minutes? None being, can I have a motion to approve, please? Mr. Preston?
So moved.
I second that, Brenda?
I'll
Second that.
Thank you. That motion's carried unanimously. We'll move on to item 5, business arising from previous minutes. Can I have a motion to receive and file, please? Brenda?
I will move that.
Seconder in that, Kendall or Brent? No, Kendall or
I'll second.
Mark? Oh, Kendall, I guess. Kendall's got it, I guess. Thank you. Can we have a vote on that, please? That motion's carried unanimously. We'll move on to item 6, unfinished business. None being, we'll move on to item 7, new business. Item 7A has been deferred till a later date. And with that, until the town can, as further meetings with town can be accomplished. That being, we'll move on to item 7B, 20 Rayner Drive, foundation elevation variance. And with that, could the applicant come up to the podium? And Jennifer, can you introduce that item first?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The applicant is seeking a foundation elevation variance without feedback for a detached garage. I don't know what to do. While I was going through the research for the file, it was noted that a foundation elevation variance was approved for the dwelling unit in 1987, I believe it was. However, a hold harmless agreement was never executed for the house as well. So I'm recommending that as part of this foundation elevation variance and hold harmless agreement, that we also include the hold harmless agreement for the house as well as for the garage. It's in the rural, it has 3,220 square meters. We don't have any concerns, and there were no concerns received from the public. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Could the applicant please state their name for the record, please?
Mark Hatfield.
Mark, you will receive the same application we did in the mail. Is there anything you'd like to add or discuss prior to any questions from PAC or members of the public?
Only thing I guess add in and just question on is what the recommendation is, the hold harmless on the house. As I'm not the homeowner and I wasn't here to represent that aspect of it, we were just here to represent the garage with the homeowners are perfectly fine entering in a home harmless for the garage. I just don't want to speak on their behalf for the house aspect of it because we've never discussed that.
Jennifer, any comment on that?
I could recommend that we could defer until at such time that we speak with the homeowner.
Okay, thank you. With that being, is there any questions from members of PAC to Mr. Hatfield? Mr. Bishop?
I guess through Mr. Chair to Jennifer, so if we defer, is that going to hold up his permit?
The permit's actually already been released.
Thank you. Any other questions for the applicant? None being, is there anyone online or in the audience willing to speak for or against this item? Is there anyone online or in the audience willing to speak for or against this item? Third and final time, is there anyone online or in the audience willing to speak for or against this item? None being, would a member of PAC like to put a motion for or against with terms and conditions, please? Mr. Bishop?
I'll put a motion forward that PAC approve the 3.3 meter foundation elevation variance for the detached garage at 28 Raynard Drive, PID 73445, subject to following terms and conditions. One, applicant enter to a hold harmless agreement with the town, the preparation of which shall be executed within 6 months of the foundation elevation approval.
Thank you, Mr. Bishop. Can I have a seconder on that? Kendall?
I'll second it.
Okay. Can we vote on that motion, please? Any debate on that first? Brenda? No? Brent?
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
I guess my question is, should we note that this applies specifically to the garage and that the home is to be an additional agreement between the homeowner and the town?
That would be a separate item out of this though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Should we put in this motion that this is specifically only for the garage, does not apply to the house?
Yep.
We can't correct the past error in this motion, I guess.
Yep, got it. Yep, thank you. Can we vote on that, please? That motion's carried. 5 to 7 business days, you have your letter in the mail with the approval, and best of luck. You're welcome.
To reach out to you, and I don't think it'll be a problem, but I just want to speak on behalf.
Mr. Goslin, can you hear us?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you. That being, we'll move on to item 7B, 197 to 199 Pettingill Road. Pending approval to erect a fence. Could the applicant please come up to the podium? In the meantime, Jennifer, can you introduce that item?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Arsenault is here before us asking for a variance for a fence, for a wildlife fence to be erected at 97 and 99 Pettingill Road. She is an owner. She has interest in both lots. She and her husband own one lot, and she and her business partner own the other lot that the fence will be traversing over. And as PAC is aware, a fence does require a 60-meter setback, so we'd be looking at the 60-meter setback from both properties at both sides. It's explained in the staff report. The only other thing I wanted to bring to your attention is that the fence actually is up, as you see in the report, and to that I would just recommend that PAC double the permit fee for the fence permit. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Could you please state your name for the record, please?
Jennifer Arsenault.
Jennifer, you would have received the same package we did in the mail. Is there anything you'd like to add or discuss prior to members of the PAC or members of the public asking you any questions?
No, I found it very thorough.
Okay, thank you. Any members of PAC have any questions for the applicant? Brenda?
I have a couple. What is going to be in that enclosed area, that fenced-in area? What is it for?
Well, we use it for play space because we're a nature-based school program. So early years, we have 0 to 5 in early years, and then we have kindergarten to grade 5 there. So, yeah.
I know if you have like a daycare and something like that, and you have to build a fence, I don't know if that type of fencing would be eligible.
Yeah, no, we have a different play yard for that, which met the requirements of the province.
Okay,
So the licensing would require fencing of a certain square footage on the property to be of a certain caliber, and we have that as well.
if you had applied for a building permit before you built your fence, and you're trying to build that type with the wildlife fencing, do you think that would have been improved by the town, that type of fencing? I don't have a problem with what you're trying to do. I do have a problem with what type of fencing you're using. I know it's cheap, but
Yeah,
I have problems with this because we have people who would like to fence in their properties to keep the deer out and stuff like
but
that.
that's also part of it. We're trying to
I know
reduce the
that we
ticks
would
and
not let them use that type of fence.
okay.
Anyway, that's my only problem with this is the type and, the fact that it was put up.
Yeah,
But also
I
the
just,
type
I
of
went by the
fence.
recommendation of Fundy Fencing with the type of fence.
Anyway. But that's my question.
Thank you, Brenda. Any other questions from members of PAC to the applicant? None being, is there anyone online or in the audience willing to speak for or against this item? Is there anyone in the audience or online willing to speak for or against this item? Third and final time, is there anyone in the audience willing to speak for or against this item? None being, would a member of PAC like to put a motion for or against with terms and conditions, please? Mr. Guest,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I put forward the motion that, excuse me, that the PAC grant approval for a 0.6 meter setback variance from section 6S7 of the zoning bylaw 038 to 197 Pettingill Road, PID 30340244, and grant approval for a 0.6 meter setback variance from section 6S7 of zoning bylaw 038 to 199 Pettingill Road, PID 30340251, to permit the erection of wildlife fencing across both properties subject to the following terms and conditions. Number one, in the event that either of the subject lots change ownership, an agreement between the property owners of 197 and 199 Pettingill Road is to be executed, agreeing to the location of the wildlife fencing. If an agreement is not possible, then the portion of fence that crosses the property line must be removed or relocated as such that it adheres to the setback requirements of the zoning bylaw in force at the time. Number two, in the event that interest in 199 Pettingill Road should change hands, unobstructed access through the right-of-way easement in favor of 199 Pettingill Road be restored. And finally, number three, the fence permit fees be doubled as per section 8F of building bylaw number 55 for construction prior to the issuance of a permit.
thank you, Mr. Guest. Can I have a seconder on that?
Second it.
Thank you, Kendall. Any debate on that motion? Brenda?
I have a question for staff. Are we setting a precedence about that type of fencing being allowed to be built in the town of Quispamsis?
Pardon me. In my time here, which is very short, two years and a bit, I have never seen it. Doesn't mean that it's not here, and there's no reference to it in our bylaw either, for or against, that I'm familiar with.
I guess my problem is somebody wants to come in and fence off their property. We cannot say no to that if we say yes to this. because a lot of people would like to fence their property as inexpensive as they can to keep the deer out. And that would be the cheapest process available. I'm concerned that if we allow that to happen, anybody wants to fence their property, we cannot say no to that. Anyway, that's my,
Mr. Bishop?
Well, I guess, I'm just in debate on that. I'm thinking the reason they've done that is they're protecting an area. They own both pieces of property. They're not using that fence to separate from home to home. I guess that's going to be my question to you. Am I correct on that? Is this fence is just to basically fence off an area? I guess the school's on one side. I don't know what, because I can't see from the ortho, what is possible to be built on the other side. You are a significant landholder in both properties, so I think just like everything, there's conditions where things can be approved or not approved, and if someone was gonna put this down, through Woodley Park, I guess, through between two houses, yes, I guess we can say no to that, is my 2 cents worth on that.
Our point isn't to fence in the property, and neither of the full properties are engulfed. It's a specific space where young children play in the woods because it's a nature-based program, and we basically put it up as a safety barrier. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Any further debate on the motion? None being, can we have a vote, please? The motion's carried by a vote of 5-1. Within next 5 to 7 business days, you have a letter in the mail with your approval. Please work with the town to have all necessary paperwork and documentation in place. Best of luck. Thank you. We're going to move on to item 7D, tentative subdivision, Maple Ridge Estates, 5B subdivision plan, rugged residential. I take it Dwight's not here, so Jennifer, you're gonna.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is Maple Ridge Estates 5B subdivision plan. So this is in response to the Bearland condo rezoning that we looked at last year for that area. And as part of the condition was that they brought Cargo Road up to a public standard. And so that's what this does, as well as results in 2 other lots, Lot 1000, the LPP that's been given to this project, which is over a hectare and greater than the amount that's required, and a few future streets to be placed on the subdivision, on the map, the tentative plan, subdivision plan, identifying where the next future development will be going. I'm just going to review to see if there's any pertinent information that I'm forgetting in my introduction. I think we're just here to support the development officer in bringing this forward for a sent to council. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Anyone from PAC have any questions for the town on that item? None being, is there anyone online or in the audience willing to speak for or against that item? Anyone in the audience or online willing to speak for or against this item? Third and final time, is there anyone in the audience or online willing to speak for or against this item? None being, would a member of PAC like to put a motion for or against with terms and conditions, please? Kendall.
I recommend the Planning Advisory Committee support the development officer in bringing Maple Ridge Estates Phase 5 to council for assertion as per the Section 88(1) of the Community Planning Act, subject to the following conditions. Cargo Road is constructed to municipal street standard as per the subdivision bylaw and a professional engineered design as approved by the town. Number 2, a professional engineered comprehensive stormwater management plan achieving a minimum of balanced pre-development versus post-development stormwater flows is approved by the town. Number 3, consideration of future street portion abutting the land for public purposes be vested as a public street as part of Maple Ridge Estates Phase 5B with development to municipal standards as part of the next phase. Number 4, rehabilitation of that portion of the lands for public purposes that has undergone excavation with rehabilitation being as part of Section 7 of the subdivision bylaw, tree planting and preservation. Number 5, land for public purposes surplus beyond the required 8,263 square meters be LPP credit for future development of the remnant parcel. Number 6, filing fees in the amount of $100 be paid prior to plan approval by the development officer. Number 7, the execution of a subdivision development agreement and the posting of required security in the amount as determined by the town to cover the associated road and stormwater management construction of Cargo Road and any other items as identified by the town's engineering department. And number 8, the undertaking of the proposed development as per all applicable federal and provincial acts and regulations thereto and applicable town of Quispamsis bylaws.
Thank you, Kendall. Can we have a seconder on that item? Brent?
I'll second that motion.
Any debate on the motion? None being, can we have a vote, please? That motion's carried unanimously for that item. With that being, we'll move on to item 8, information and items for discussion. Can I have a motion to receive and file, please? Brenda?
So moved.
Seconder on that? Mark?
I'll second that.
Thank you. We have a vote on that? Motion carried unanimously. Move on to item 9. Can I have a motion to adjourn? Mr. Bishop?
So moved.
Can I have a seconder on that, please?
Second.
Thank you, Mark. Meeting adjourned.